always a warning. Pray to the one you're relying. I've been wandering all day. I tried to be fine, but I can't be. The noise in my mind wouldn't leave me.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to She Leads. I am so excited to be talking about this topic. And this topic is, right, why you don't need permission to lead. Did you know most leaders lead before they actually get the title, before they actually get the official leader role, CEO role, principal, head of school? Um, when you have certain qualities as a leader, they show up in so many different areas that one might not think. You're leading already within your grade level. You're leading within your classroom. You're leading in the community. This is all before you get a title. I think back to when I first started leading, and I would get you're a leader before I knew or before I actually sat in leadership positions because you have to fine tune your leadership skills. You don't start fine tuning your leadership skills once you get the title. Believe it or not, you have to have certain leadership skills already kind of down pat before you actually get into the role. So I wanted to bring this to you because there are so many women that are interested in leadership, that are interested in making a change at a higher level, but they're like, I don't have the title. I don't have the position. But that's okay because how you are noticed is through your daily actions of what you're doing, honestly, before you get the title. I know. People were already looking at me and looking at the work that I was doing before I actually had the position. For people to start trusting you, they need to see what you can do and how you show up. And you need to be strategic about that when you're thinking about, man, I'm interested in being a leader in education, but I have all these years of education that I need to seek when it comes to certifications. I need all this training. We have our hard skills, we have our soft skills, and I really need to define that while I'm building my capacity. I had my master's in public administration before I was actually in a leadership role. I did. Fine-tuning those skills and building those skills are so important because one, you're showcasing your worth and you're showcasing what you're doing, but two, you are also developing. And that's truly the trick of this all is how do I get into these positions? How do I take my time? How am I strategic? Well, you have to do it at the same time. I put down for my notes, calling comes before confirmation. That's big. Your purpose, your drive, what you want to do, that calling and tugging at your heart comes before it's actually given to you. And because that calling comes before you are confirmed, that means that I'm going to use that S word again, have to be strategic about how you're using your calling, how you're using your resources, including your energy and how you're showing up. You know what they always say, and I truly believe it. They always say, dress up as your future self. Dress up as the CEO, even though you're not the CEO. Fun story. I remember my first year being a director of operations, and we had a spirit week. And I remember one of my students dressing up, and I said, "Hey, you're supposed to be dressing up as a teacher." That was the Spirit Week. That was the celebration that day. I said, "You have on sweats, you have on a hoodie. Who do you look like? Which teacher is this?" And that student said, "You, Miss Miles." That hit me like a ton of bricks. Me, as a leader, as a future leader, that's how I dressed up, and that's what you saw. Now, he didn't understand when I was dressing up, I was the director of operations, so I was moving around a lot. I was moving furniture, I was in and out. This was my first year building, so I was constantly go, 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 go. But I forgot that even in those times when we're building and we're showing up for our calling, it matters of how we present ourselves. It matters of how we show up because the calling comes before the confirmation. I knew I wanted to be a CEO. I knew that I wanted to present myself in a certain manner, but I didn't even think about that. I was like, I'm thinking about the now. I didn't think about what it would look like in the future. Calling comes before confirmation. Second, leadership is about responsibility, not position. There are so many people that are leaders that are not in those leadership roles. Some people choose that. They choose to do that, but they're still taking on the responsibility. They're still carrying out the vision. They're still carrying out the mission. They're still solutions oriented. They're still coming up in conflict resolution. They still have all of these things that a leader has. It's about your responsibility and how you handle that responsibility. If people can trust you with your responsibility, they don't mind giving you more, but can they trust you? Are you consistent? Are you disciplined? That, that is a she leader. That's all it's about because it matters so much of as a leader, we need to be able to trust you. So how are you building those skills? If you are interested in leadership, you need to ask yourself, am I a trustworthy person? Am I disciplined? Do I understand what I need as a leader and understand what I need throughout the different phases? You need to have that kind of unlock before you get into that leadership role. 3, permission seeking shrinks your voice. You do not need permission to be a leader. You need permission to do other tasks, but to be a leader, to show up, to carry your presence, to be all in, to be goal oriented, to be a person that cares about their time task management, to want the best quality work, you don't need permission for that. That defines your brand. That defines who you are. You don't need permission. When people see your brand, meaning who you are and what you represent, that is what they are interested in, and that's what they want to invest in. If your brand is a brand of I complain or I never show up on time, that's not a good leader. When people look at leaders, they're looking at somebody to lead them that they can trust. So you don't need permission, but also too, in that process, you need to ask, what's my brand? And last, obedience requires action, not validation. When you are building in this opportunity to be a leader or you're seeking out leadership, it's about being obedient to the things that you know are right. Are you standing on moral ground? Are you putting yourself in situations that elevate you? And that means you have to take a closer look at what that looks like for yourself. You have to be able to move without being stunted. Sometimes it's scary. Absolutely. Being a leader is scary. Taking that leap of faith is very scary. But guess what? As leaders, we have to do that with a title or not. Doesn't matter.